Is there a chance Terry Rozier could finally be off of this Miami Heat roster very soon? Well, there's a report out there that the Heat are interested in a potential Terry Rozier buyout, which would send him packing. I know it's not a trade, which is what most fans want, but if Rozier is off the roster, I might be a happy camper regardless. The report is coming in from NBA insider Jake Fischer, who said sources say Miami still hopes to part with the veteran guard Rozier, even though there is said to be a scant trade interest. Rozier is scheduled to make $26.6 million this season, and the Heat are said to have some interest in buying him out. To be clear, though, no buyout appears imminent. And when you have that report from Jake Fischer being kind of confirmed by Ethan J. Skolnick and 5 Reasons Sports Network, who on their pod, great pod by the way, said that the Heat do in fact have interest in a Terry Rozier buyout. I'll share what he said in just a moment, but when you have two different people that are, Ethan's definitely credible when it comes to Miami Heat, but Fisher's hit or miss, we know that. But you have two people that have said it now. Well, now that makes me believe the Heat might actually buy Terry Rozier out, which is something that I did not anticipate being an option for Miami and did not anticipate being a good move for Miami either. But I'll tell you what, folks, if Terry Rozier is moved, whether it is a buyout, a waive, or trade, we will have you covered if the Terry Rozier saga is finally over. Subscribe and join the channel today. Now, when it comes to a buyout, I certainly have my doubts because, one, you have to have both parties agree to a financial agreement in that buyout, and knowing how the Heat view Terry Rozier, and Rozier probably wants all of that money he is owed, I just feel as if it would be very difficult to find a money number to agree to. And that is what Ethan J. Skolnick reported as well. He said that they are interested in it, but he doesn't think Terry will do it because he won't make up the money elsewhere. Until the FBI thing clears, I don't think he finds a home, and the FBI thing has not cleared, nor do the Heat know when it will. They wish it would. So that is kind of the point of all of this. If they, in this Rozier I'm talking about here, they don't think they're going to get signed by another team, why on earth would they agree to a buyout? Because the only reason why you agree to a buyout is to go have another opportunity to play elsewhere. Like, he knows he's not going to play on this Heat roster, but he also probably knows that they aren't going to be able to play or get playing time on any other team. So why would he not just stay in a very great state like Miami or Florida and city in Miami and make some money with the team that he has under contract? But there is another option for Miami, and that is just waiving him. There are 4 options for the Heat with Terry Rozier to get him off of the roster. Why? You can buy him out, which we're talking about here. You can waive and stretch him, which we'll talk more about here in just a second. You can just flat out waive him, and then you could also obviously try to trade him if you want him off the roster. Obviously, you could also just keep him on this group. But if you want to do the waive and stretch option, you better hurry. We're filming this on August 29th, Friday. Maybe you're watching this on Saturday or Sunday. If you're watching this on Friday, though, today, the 29th, is the deadline to stretch and waive a player in the NBA. This is the deadline. So if they don't do it on Friday, August 29th, well, that is no longer an option for the Miami Heat. And you might be curious what a waive and stretch is. Well, he is due $26.6 million this season if he is under contract for the entire year. Well, what you do is you add 2 more years to the contract and then divide his salary by the 3 years. So instead of paying him $26.6 million this season, you would then pay him $8.8 million this year, next year, and the year after that. So you would save about $18 million in cap space this season, but you also have to add $8.8 million in dead cap for Terry Rozier over the next 2 years. And to me, I am not that big of a fan of this idea. I get it. You get Rozier off and you save $18 million this year. But the reason why I don't love it is because you add 2 years of dead cap, and I just feel as if that's not worth it for the Miami Heat. I'll explain a little bit more here why I feel that way in just 1 second. But you make the call. Do you want the Heat to waive and stretch Terry Rozier today? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Get down in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Why I say no to the wave and stretch idea for Rozier. Usually when you make that move, that is a move you make to provide you with flexibility and some money to make other moves. This is something that the Heat should have explored in free agency back in early July. If you waive and stretch Terry now to create that cap space, what flexibility are you going to use that on? Are you going to sign a player to a contract that large and the money that you saved? No. Are you going to trade for a player that makes that type of salary? Probably not. So my point is, why would you waive and stretch Terry, add dead cap the next 2 years if you're not going to take advantage of the financial flexibility you create for this season? Doesn't make any sense. But a buyout or flat out waive could make some sense in my opinion. And the question is, would it be a buyout or a waive? Well, let's start with talking about the actual buyout because in my opinion, I agree with Ethan. Why would Rozier agree to a buyout if he is not going to be signed by another NBA team? He would obviously want to play basketball this season potentially and want to be on an NBA roster. So if he is not going to be signed by another team, there's no reason for him to agree to it. And in a buyout, you have to agree to it. But if he doesn't agree to it and Miami is hell-bent on getting him off of the roster and not having him in this locker room, well, then you could waive him. And I think that is a more likely option at this point than just flat out buying him out. And you might wonder, what's the difference between a buyout, a waive, and a waive-and-stretch? Well, we're getting technical here today, folks. Well, waiving him is essentially just cutting/releasing him. If you go to NFL and you follow that league, it's basically the same thing. You just say, adios, amigo. But in the difference between that and a buyout, where they maybe in a buyout agree to a lesser amount of money given to Rozier for the season, he gets the full money he is guaranteed, which is $24.9 million, which means there is $1.7 million the Heat would save if they flat out waived Terry Rozier because he has $1.7 million in unlikely bonuses from that $24.9 guaranteed to his $26.6 million cap hit. His cap hit's still $26.6 this year, but he's only guaranteed $24.9. So if you did waive him, you would save $1.7 million, which would then put you at $3.3 million underneath the luxury tax. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you folks, so I'll try to simplify it right now. If Miami just waived Terry Rozier next Wednesday, let's say, the Heat would have 13 standard contracts and $3.3 million in space under the luxury tax, allowing them to sign a potential vet min free agent to this roster, get another big man potentially, but also stay underneath the luxury tax. That is the option if Miami ultimately moves off of Terry Rozier that I find the most likely, because no one is going to make a trade involving Rozier right now with the FBI stuff hanging around. And if the Heat want to get rid of him, flat out waiving him is probably the most sensible option for Miami, and it creates a little bit of space. We'll see how they could use that space in 1 second. But take advantage of this financial opportunity where you can get a hoodie right now for $53, which is 56% off its usual price of $120. You can grab that hoodie at chatsports.com/heat sale. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Take advantage. Sweet hoodie. Producer Coop almost wanted to buy one, but then he realized he wasn't a Heat fan. All right, well, these are the two targets that I think Miami could use that cap space on, and I'll choose these two names very carefully. I'll explain why here in a second. Our good old friend Precious Achiuwa and the former first-round pick out of Texas that the Heat worked out 2 weeks ago but ultimately did not sign, Kai Jones. The Heat need a third big man on this roster. They simply do not have one. The Heat's front court is Bam and Kel'el Ware, and then it's Nikola Jovic. But I don't really want him playing small ball 5 at any point this year. So these two could be your third center in rotation with Bam and Kel'el Ware. And both are intriguing options to say the least. Achiuwa, we know what he can bring to the table. Plays extremely hard, rebounds well, struggles in terms of his efficiency on the defensive side of the floor. But he will work hard for you and give it his all. And he knows what it's like to be a member of the Miami Heat because he was with us when he was a rookie. Kai Jones, very troubled player who maybe is turning a corner now after not playing in the NBA 2 years ago. This past season had a pretty solid year playing for the Clippers and Mavericks. The final 12 games of the year, he was sensational for Dallas and put up way better numbers than Precious Achiuwa, despite playing in 17 less games and only averaging about 9 minutes less per game. I mean, if you average Jones' numbers out to Achiuwa's minutes per game, well, his efficiency and production would be way better than Precious's. And that's why I actually lean Kai Jones at this point if I was choosing one of those two. I think Kai Jones is more athletic. He has more to bring defensively. The only thing that you'd have to question is if he's going to be able to stay mentally focused for an entire NBA season while playing in Miami. We know Achiuwa can do that fine, so maybe that's just the safer option that the Heat could go with. But the reason why I chose these two in particular as Heat free agent center targets is that with $3.3 million in room underneath the luxury tax, these are the only two that could be signed underneath the tax because they are younger vetman options, which means their cap hit would be less than that $3.3 million in space Miami has, which is a good thing. A lot of people might bring up a veteran like Trey Lyles, who is certainly intriguing. But after doing a little bit more digging, his cap hit, because he does not qualify for the older vetman, and he's just a vested vetman, if you will, his cap number on that contract would be $3.6 million, which obviously would put Miami Heat back into the luxury tax, which is something they would not do whatsoever. So if they waive Terry Rozier to create that $3.3 million in cap, Trey Lyles would not be an option, but Kai Jones and Precious Achiuwa certainly would be. So pick a free agent target. If the Heat waived Rozier and signed a vet min guy to be a big man, would you rather it be Achiuwa or Kai Jones? Type PA for Precious, type KJ for Kai Jones. And as I mentioned, if the Heat do make a signing or a roster move, we will have you covered. So subscribe to the channel and make sure you follow me over on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff because I'll have the news first there before coming in here and letting you know on the channel. So if you want the best of both worlds, subscribe and follow.